What's up guys, it's Roger and welcome back to the channel, and today I'll be teaching you how to use your Blink in Trials of Osiris on Midtown. Now this is our first Trials of Osiris of the season, and so far this season has been quite the rough go of things. We haven't had to deal with Classy Restoration Solar anymore, so that's been nice, but the SBMM being introduced into Control has been quite the thorn in my side, and I know for a lot of other people that are in the top type of brackets for Control, the matchmaking has been very rough. Now I think it's been good for the overall player base, so we'll see what happens with that, but I have been very happy to get back to Trials because it's been a much needed break from all that, and I have been very much enjoying Trials today. We don't have cap points, we don't have freelance, it is just regular old, straightforward, one map Trials, no rotating maps, just Midtown. I quite like Midtown actually, and I made a pretty good build here to have some fun with it. Now it's interesting because the last time we had Midtown Trials, it was actually cap points if you remember, and it was quite the slog. People were just spamming their bubbles everywhere, their wells all over the cap points. Loreley Splendor Titan was stronger than ever, especially with Classy Restoration, and it was just a pain in everyone's cheekies. So this week, we don't really have to deal with that as much, and honestly, there's not as many things in the game to crutch right now, and you can definitely tell that fact. And I've just been having fun actually being able to use something besides my Blink Warlock in Trials. This is the first time I'm doing a how to use Blink in Trials with my Blink Hunter instead of the Warlock. So with all that being said, I'm ready to go over this build for you guys, and it's quite a fun one. Now, the crux of this build is going to be our Lucky Raspberry exotic armor. Now, I think people sleep on this thing a little bit. I made a video on this exact build the other day actually, and after using it quite a bit lately, I decided to bring it into Trials with me. Now, you might think Lucky Raspberry doesn't proc very often, but it actually does. So what are we actually talking about proccing with Lucky Raspberry? Well, Lucky Raspberry has an exotic armor perk called Probability Matrix, increase the chaining capabilities of Arc Bolt Grenade, and has a chance to recharge it each time it deals damage. A full chain always recharges. Now, it's honestly pretty often that it's procs and you get your nade right back, and when you can do that, you can just chuck another one out there and almost just kill on a Guardian very quickly, especially if you can get that stuff chaining. You can kill somebody, you can get them jolted with your nade, and then you can get amplified once they're dead. It's just a great combo, and you will get this exotic perk right here, proccing, more than you think. I've had people telling me, well, I don't really think Lucky Raspberry is worth it, especially in 3s, because you're not going to get it proccing that often. But from what I've seen, it procs quite a bit if you throw your nades well and you actually hit those chains, especially with the high traffic areas. If you learn the places on the map, such as mid, top mid, usually above the little archways on this map, and I'll show you some other spots around where the B flag usually is, people love grouping up there. And if you get a good Arc Bolt nade in there, you can a lot of times get the full chain and just immediately get your nade back, and it's a really good combo to do. Now you can check out the mods I have on the other armor here, just a lot of stuff to help our pulse rifle and our shotgun as much as we can, some unflinchings, some powerful friends, just a lot of stat stuff. Now I wish I did have a higher discipline here. Unfortunately, I just made my Hunter before this season started because I only play Blink, so I didn't need a Hunter until they introduced it to Arc Hunter. So when I made that, I had to start getting all my armor and stuff, so I don't have the best armor in the world. I don't even have enough resources right now to masterwork this Lucky Raspberry, but once I get that, I'm going to be very excited. I mainly just focused on getting 100 recov, and around 70 mobile is fun for me. I know people are asking, do you need 100 mobile on your Hunter? Because it is your class ability, but you also don't always want 100 mobility with your Blink, and I can tell you, you do not need 100 mobile. With 70 mobile, I still get my dodge back like very, very quickly. We're talking like under 30 seconds sometimes. And there is some things in your kit, in your Arc 3.0 that I'm going to show you here that really help you get that dodge back very, very fast. So after that, we're going to look at our weapons here. Now we have a Reese Walker shotgun. I absolutely love this thing, 95 range on this, and that's very helpful because this is a lightweight frame. I love lightweight frame shotguns because they pair very well with your Blink. They give you plus 20 mobility when you have them in your hands, so technically I have 90 mobile when I have my lightweight frame shotgun out. They also give you a 6.25% sprint speed bonus, so that's also very nice to have. I mean, hey, if you put on some, Stompies actually, wherever I have those, oh, I guess I don't have my inventory right now, but if you put on Stompies, those also give you a 6.25% sprint speed bonus. So if you combine Stompies with a lightweight frame weapon, you could get a 12.5%, I should say, sprint speed bonus all in all, and that's a pretty good combo. If you want to run that, and you can be blinking like crazy. I do want to mention really quick, people seem confused about this, and I've been asked this quite a few times. You do not go farther with your blinks just because you have more movement speed. Your blink is a set distance. Just because you move faster doesn't mean you're actually going farther with your blinks. If you're moving faster, you're going to cover more ground, of course, when you're sprinting, but it's more of a placebo that you do feel like you're going farther with your blink, but your actual blink itself is a measured distance, and you can't change that with anything except for Astrocyte Verse, which of course we don't have that on Hunter. Now, let's finish off talking about our weapons here. I will say we have the Half-Truth Sword with Eager Edge. I think I have that 1 or 2 plays with that for you guys today, but I don't use power ammo very often. Finishing that off, we have a very important part of our build, which is an arc weapon. Now, this is the Darkest Before Pulse Rifle. I was thinking between going between this and the Waking Vigil hand cannon. These are both arc weapons, but with Midtown, you very much so want a pulse rifle because that is the ranges you're going to be fighting in most of the time on Midtown. Midtown is a map that very much favors those mid to long range engagements, so you want to make sure you have a weapon such as the Darkest Before, or honestly any kind of pulse rifle that is a high impact, such as the No Time to Explain or Vigilance Wing are doing very well this weekend. But for our build purposes, we are going to want an arc weapon, and I'm going to show you why when we get into our Arc 3.0, which I think we can go ahead and dive into right now. So here we have our Arc 3.0, and let's go ahead and break this down. Now, out of our 2 supers here, we have Gathering Storm and Arc Staff. Now, I'm not the best Arc Staff user, but I do very much so like Gathering Storm. I think it is slept on a little bit, and it's funny, because I get people who are like, this is the worst super in the game, and then I get other people who are like, this super is meta, what are you talking about? And it's like, guys, we all have our opinions. In my opinion, and what I've seen from the general consensus of the community, Gathering Storm is a little bit underrated and slept on. I think you can actually get some pretty dang good supers, and when you learn how to direct hit people pretty reliably, it can start going pretty crazy for you. Especially when you have those teams who are grouping up and you see them, by the time you get your super, you should know enough about the enemy's playstyles and habits to know if you can get a good super with them grouped up. And that's when the Gathering Storm can really go off and easily just clap a round out for you, and honestly a lot of times secures the last round that you might need in a match. So I am running Gathering Storm, and I understand very much if you want to run Arc Staff because it's also an amazing choice, and I do think overall that Arc Staff is a better meta pick than Gathering Storm, but Gathering Storm is just more fun to me, and with the lower cooldown, about a whole minute less cooldown, I do think that it's also a very strong super to have. Now let's start going over our other stuff here with our abilities. I am using Gambler's Dodge, so you dodge, perform, and left tumble, avoiding enemy attacks, dodging nearby enemies fully recharges your melee ability. That's very good, because our dodge actually does something with our melee because of one of the aspects I'll have on, but we'll go over that very soon. We have our blink on, of course, because we are cool dudes and we use blink, not any of these stinky little jumps. No, we blink around here. We have our combination blow, so a quick strike that temporarily increases your melee damage when defeating a target, stacking 3 times. Defeating targets with its abilities also fully refills your class ability energy and restores a small amount of health. So if you can punch somebody's booty cheeks down, you can get your class ability energy so that your dodge fully back and restores a small amount of health, so you get a little heal there, which is also, it does come in handy. I've noticed a few times that little heal can really save your cheeks, and immediately getting your dodge back is an amazing combo, because I'm telling you, this dodge and melee combo is an amazing thing to have, and if you're really going to try to be as premier of a player as you can on your Blink Hunter, it's something you're going to want to keep in mind, and I'm going to mention that just in a second here. But first of all, I want to say Arc Bolt Grenades, of course. I was telling you about the Lucky Raspberry, so to combo with that, we have to use the Arc Bolt Grenades, and Arc Bolts are honestly a very good nade. A 1 minute and 45 second cooldown time is not very long at all if you compare it to other stuff. 2 minutes, 131, 145 is on the lower end of the spectrum, and you definitely tell that, and they come back very fast even if you have a low discipline, but pairing with our build that we have today, and especially the Lucky Raspberry, you get them quite often. Let's break down our aspects here. So, I am using Flow State first of all. Defeating a jolted target makes you amplified. When you are amplified, your dodge recharges more quickly, you are more resilient while dodging, and your reload speed is greatly increased. Now, being amplified is a great thing to have. Of course, all those benefits we just mentioned are awesome, and you really need to start taking advantage of those. We have a few ways to jolt targets. The first one, of course, is going to be by hitting them with our nade. Now, once you kill them with a nade, you're amplified, and that's one of the things I'm trying to talk about. You don't need 100 mobility because when you are amplified, your dodge recharges more quickly. So that's one way to get your dodge back very quickly, along with one of these fragments that I'll talk about here soon. Now, I've been talking your ear off about this melee combo, and that is all going to come to culmination because of Lethal Current. After dodging, your next melee attack has increased lunge range, jolts the target, and creates a damaging aftershock. Damaging any jolted target with melee attacks also blinds them. So, the combo you're trying to do, and I'm going to show this to you a few times in the clips that I have for you today, you're going to blink in, dodge when you hit the ground, and then you go in, you have increased lunge range, you have an explosion that goes off on your enemy after you punch them, and it's going to make them jolted. Once you kill them, you're going to get amplified. It's an amazing combo. All in all, when you have Lethal Current, your punch does 150 damage, which is absolutely incredible. 150 damage, think about that. Not to mention it can do a little explosion in a radius, and you can get some multi-kills with this too, and I actually have some clips today where I do just that, because this is an amazing combo. So again, you're going in, you're using your dodge, and then you're using your Lethal Current punch, and you're just going crazy. And I do want to say, when you're using this combo, you need to make sure you blink a little before your enemies so that you have time to get the dodge off without just getting smacked by their shotguns. And I'll try to talk about that a little bit when we get into the gameplay here, but just try to keep that in mind. Now, let's come down to the fragments here. There are two main fragments that are going to help us get our abilities back very, very quickly. The first one is going to be Spark of Ions. Defeating a jolted target creates an Ionic Trace. Ionic Traces, of course, are a bolt of pure arc energy that travels along the ground, seeking towards its creator. When picked up, Ionic Traces grant ability energy. So that gives you ability energy for all your abilities, and that's including your melee, your dodge. That's another way we're going to get our dodge back very fast, is because of the Ionic Traces, and your nade. And it also gives you a little bit of super energy too, which is very nice. Now after that, I'm going to skip over to the end here because I have Spark of Discharge. Arc Weapon Final Blows have a chance to create an Ionic Trace. This is where we're using an Arc Weapon, and specifically the Darkest Before today, because when we kill with that Arc Weapon, we have a chance to get an Ionic Trace. So we have two different ways to get Ionic Traces, and that's very good so we can get our abilities back as fast as possible. After that, I have Spark of Focus. After sprinting for a short time, your class ability regeneration is increased. Now, this is the last and final way we're going to be able to get our dodge back very, very quickly, and you will definitely notice this. You're going to get focused breathing after you run for a second with this on, and you see your dodge energy just flies back up. Definitely use Spark of Focus in probably almost any build you're doing because it's very, very useful. And last but not least, we have Spark of Shock. Your arc grenades jolt targets. This is very good to have, especially when you're running a Lucky Raspberry Arc Bolt nade build, because of course you want to be able to get amplified as easy as possible, and when you're having such a higher chance of getting nade hits and nade kills, then you're going to want to do something that can jolt them with said nades. So that's what we want to have on Spark of Shock. I think that is our entire build broken down and exactly the combo that I am going for. Hopefully all of that made sense to you, and it'll make more sense when you start seeing me actually play if you are confused about anything. I have very much so been enjoying Blink Hunter, and I am so happy to have it in the game. And remember, Blink for everyone. If you want to go support the movement on Twitter, I'll throw that video in the top right now, and you can go over to Twitter, follow me there, say, hey, at Bungie, hashtag Blink for everyone, give me that Blink Titan, you know what, let's go crazy, why not? But for now, I think that's everything I need to cover, so we are ready for this gameplay, so why don't we go ahead and blink on into it. So this time around on Midtown is quite different. Like I said, last time we had cap points, so a lot of people were playing outside, but this time a lot of people are playing right where I am, which is in the middle of the map. I often like to challenge right here, these mid-arch doorways is what I usually call these things, if you're ever wondering. I call them like archways, but you do your own calls, I don't know what you want to say. I usually like to go there, challenge, and then I came over here and challenge. Now this is what I call inside of the map. You can see I start getting shot, so I had to slide my way out of there and see how I could actually position myself to fight these guys correctly. Now my teammates both got kind of smackers, Dyer's the second one, and I knew I had to commit to that fight. I had to take out the first guy and then take out the second guy in succession, or I was not going to be able to win this round, because if I left either of them alive, I would just get pegged and double teamed by both of them, and my booty cheeks were not open for business. But the enemies was, that's why I blinked in behind them and smacked with my nice little Reese Walker, and I think I actually had the Skulking Wolf perk from my Reese Walker there, so I was off his radar, I'm pretty sure. So that's pretty cool to see that coming into handy, coming into action too. Look at my radar here, you can see I do play on the outside of the map like this sometimes. It was not very often, and honestly, I kind of like that. I like playing on the inside of the map much more. But every now and again, I would even tell my teammates, like, hey, let's go play on the outside of the map, because it really throws people off. You get different angles like this one, where it's really good for something like the Darkest Before, with that angle that I was just showing you. It's like the perfect length. Smack this guy with my shotgun, pick up the ammo, and I'm thinking about going in. I'm watching my radar and seeing where these guys are. Blink up, and I'm just looking at this guy come in, beautiful hip fire slide, and take him out. People really think you can't slide with your shotguns, but just remember, you can. It really doesn't ruin your accuracy that much. It's not that big of a deal in my opinion. Now, coming into here, again, I like to go up top, and with your blink, you're going to get to mid very, very fast. So you're usually going to be able to set up, especially if you're like an Astrocyte Warlock, you'll get there really quick. Now, I'm not an Astrocyte Warlock, but I still got there fast and was setting up. Blink over to the side so I can get an angle on this guy and just commit to the fight with him. I take him out, no Ionic Traces, but that's okay. I still have my Lethal Current from dodging, so I wanted to get in there and see if I could use that before it ran out. Now, this guy was just so confused by my blinks, and he did not know where I was, so I just cruised up behind his cheeks, put my shotgun straight between the left and right, and just blew his bussy to pieces. And hey, that's what you gotta do sometimes. You can see in the chat right here, this is what I'm talking about. We were not doing too good. We had 2 rounds, they had 3, so I told my teammates, hey, let's try playing outside. They were pretty cool dudes, and they listened to me, so they followed me out there, and I'm going to do a little time skip here because it took a while. You see 1:21 on the clock, and now 1:05 on the clock, because we sat outside for a while just waiting for the enemy. See, the thing is, you need to keep the game in your control. You're trying to keep these fights to the places that you want them, and so if the enemy starts winning a couple rounds in a row, you need to see what can I do to start bringing this match back into my control and into my pace. So our answer to that was to go outside and make them kind of come to us, take some unfamiliar angles for them, and just hold our distance. As soon as we had that first pick, they kind of freaked out and fell apart. You can see we smacked that second guy, and I knew I needed to fly in with a shotgun on this third guy and just take him out really quick. A couple of shots there, and he is put into the dirt, or I guess that's kind of concrete on the ground on this map, but hey, you're catching my drift. Again, playing outside is not a bad idea, and you always need to consider doing a big flank. You're really fast with your blink, and you can really flank the enemies if they like playing mid by coming on the outside here. Now, what happened here is this guy was really close to me, and the zoom on this pulse is a little too much to where I wasn't really happy to fight there, but you can see I rolled. The reason I rolled is because I wanted to get my lethal current. I have it for 3 more seconds, and you can see how far I lunged onto this guy with my melee to take him out. With my shotgun, I was able to punch twice, and with combination blow and just 2 nice melees, you know, I take the second guy out as well, and you can really start pogging off with melee on this class, and that's what I'm saying. Before you go into that melee fight, if you can make it happen, just do a roll really quick, do your little combat dodge, and then get your lethal current up. You're going to have extra lunge distance, and you're going to blow their bussy up with the little explosion that comes off of it. I knew that guy was low from shooting him at range, so I flew over that little part of the map there, and then took him out with a shotgun, threw my Gathering Storm in there just to cut those guys off and do some damage, and my teammates followed up beautifully when we had them pinched to really just finish that off. Now it's 1-2 here, and these nades are so annoying. There's like this traveling Titan nade, and it lasts for like 11 seconds is what somebody told me. It's like a moving storm nade and it lasts for 11 seconds. I'm going to shoot myself if I keep it up playing against that, but smacked that guy with a nice little shotgun melee and then just took some aims with this. I do have ricochet rounds, and you can see I was still hitting some shots on him. If you have ricochet rounds, don't be afraid to use them and just bounce them off the walls. You hit them, and of course it's going to be kind of like a thorn perk where it's going to take them longer to start healing if they're taking damage from anything, including your ricochet rounds. Flick up top and take that guy out, and I'm just looking down towards the left. Now unfortunately my teammate got taken out, so my 2 choices are to keep aiming at the enemy or go get my teammate. I started off with a nice arc bolt nade, throw that out there, no tags, so I blink ahead, hit my head a little bit, but that's okay, and get my teammate. I immediately saw my radar, they were right on top of me. So I blinked up to where I knew the res was, smacked the first guy, dodged off, smacked the second guy, dodged again. You can see, I had my dodge back because of our aspects. If you remember we were talking about it earlier, or was it the just the dodge itself? I forget. But one of the parts of your kit is that if you dodge near enemies, you get your dodge back very quickly. And you can see right there, when I dodged on those 2 guys last round, I immediately got my dodge back again. And it's just an amazing tool to use. So make sure you're dodging when you're close to people just to get that lethal current punch, because you get it back basically instantly. So there's no point in not using it. I like this map because it has a really good balance of lengths that you can actually take fights at. You can see there I followed up on that guy really quickly with a shotgun and then just took his buddy out with a pulse rifle, because you can get in some pretty good blinks, get right on top of people and smack their bush with a shotgun, and then switch to your pulse rifle extremely quickly and start taking shots with that as well. These mid-range fights are very favorable to something like a Darkster 4, and you can see I'm taking a lot of fights with it because I just know I can. I threw that nade because they like to peek there. Well, I actually didn't know that yet, but a lot of people like to peek there is what I should say. Came back and pre-fired that guy, took his head off, and just blinked forward. I was watching my radar and saw they were right behind me, so what I did is I dodged, and then immediately turned around and came back towards this guy, had a very long lunge range there, and smacked that guy, and then just punched this guy and blew him up because of my lethal current. Luckily, my teammate helped me out a lot there, so I said, hey, thanks, handsome. You want to go on a date later? Maybe grab some endless breadsticks over at Olive Garden? I mean... He said yes. I'll let you guys know how that goes in the next video, but that's not the point right now. The point is, going into this next round, I'm looking around at these guys. Do they want to push here? Maybe, and of course right when I stop peeking, that's when he goes ahead and takes that peek. I had invis and I saw on my radar that maybe somebody was going to push to my right, so I wanted to see if I could hold that angle, but I also didn't want to get smacked because me and my teammate just kind of blew up a little bit. I pushed forward because, like I said, that exact angle was exactly where he was. So I was able to take him out really easily, and then I blinked forward with my shotgun. I did a roll so I could get my lethal current, and then I blinked right over this wall. Now, he started turning right around at me, which is very smart for him to read his radar and see me and turn around on me, but unfortunately he didn't know who he was messing with. I pulled out the Reese Walker and said boom boom baby and smacked his cheekies. Flew in here. Now again, I'm amplified, I'm really fast, I have my shotgun out, but like I'm saying, your blink distance does not change. You can see even though I was zooming around amplified, yeah, I'm zooming, I'm schmoving, but I'm not getting farther blinks. Now again, if you see me dodge for any random reason, it's usually because I'm thinking about going into a melee battle. I didn't really get to use my lethal current here, but luckily my teammate helped me smack. That tether got me out of trouble, and I immediately was ready to turn around and see if I get some angle on these guys. Now I was looking to my right because I knew we had a res down over there on the enemies, so I wanted to see if I could help my teammate. So I threw my nade to get him jolted, and then took him out, which amplified me. Now I was looking towards this last enemy, immediately flicked onto him, and then went in with a shotgun. Flew in behind him, 2 shots, and then put him in the dirt, and that is the beautiful things you're trying to do. If you can get that nade on somebody and then immediately smack them with your primary weapon, you might even get some ionic traces, and you'll also just get amplified. It's great. I did lose this round, but I wanted to show you how fucking crazy I pogged on those first two. It was just some hot stuff, and you know, I like to show you those nice plays. Even if you lose a round, sometimes you do some pretty stuff. Now later on, I did start playing towards the inside of the map a little more. You can see here I went crazy, and you see how much health I just got back right there? That was from what we were talking about earlier. I forget what that even is assigned to. There's so many little intricacies. Oh, my teammates threw that round, by the way. They actually lost, even though I had 2 picks there. You gotta love random teammates, right? No freelance for us. And you can see when I was telling you there's something in your kit that gives you health back when you get that melee kill. And you saw how much health I got back from that melee kill? It was very impressive. I smacked that guy and was amplified because I jolted him with my nade before I killed him, went in with my shotgun. Somehow my melee was not able to reach that guy, but it was okay. Took some shots to my teammate and just blew their pussies out. Now I was looking at my radar, saw this guy wanted a peek. I took a dodge just to get away from him, not because I thought I was going to go into a melee battle, but it turns out that I might have. Now I was working with my teammate here. You can see my lethal current is running out, and I'm looking at my radar. I decided I want to go in. It's 3-4 on the scoreboard, you can see. So I want to just use my super. Don't be stingy. If the enemy team is 1 round away from winning, you know, like this is it, it's match point, just use your super, because at the very least you can extend it to the max amount of rounds, and then you have a chance to win that last round. But if you just hold your super until you go into orbit until the next DLC is going to drop, then what's the point of that? Who's winning from that except for the enemy, you know? So don't be stingy, just use your supers, especially if it's Gathering Storm, because who doesn't like to throw a nice little pull into the ground and maybe do some spins on it, you know, do a split on the way down. I think that's pretty hot. I mean, that's not the point. I blink over the archway here so I can get up behind these guys and smack them with a shotgun. Teammates did nice pinching maneuvers, and we were able to take them out. Here's another situation where it's 3-4, so I went in hard. I blinked up, I threw my super, and even though I whiffed, it honestly cut off some good distance here. I threw my nade, but he happened to not go into it, so I smacked him really quick, dodged so I gave my lethal current because I knew somebody else was near me, blinked away, turned around on this guy, and smacked him in the bush, and you can see the lethal current exploded and killed both of them. I'm telling you, this lethal current is an amazing part of your kit, so you really need to make sure you're taking full advantage of it. Do your dodge right before you think you're going to go into a melee battle, and then you will be smacking cheeks. I'm telling you, you're going to be taking cheeks and grinding them up, throwing them in the air like pizza dough, and just making your own Italiano dinner. I didn't even notice this guy was in the corner at first until I flicked around and shot him. Saw his buddy on the radar behind me, flicked onto that guy and took them both out, and that felt real crispy. My teammate did start BMing them by dancing on their dead bodies, and I was like, it's round 1, brother. You gotta calm down. Here's the obligatory sword play for you guys. I know if I put the sword on and I don't get a play, you get salty, so I slash over, and then I say, hey, give me your cheeks. I need to butter those boys, and I buttered his cheeks right up, so I hope you're happy with that. Now, here's an angle I quite like to take. You can see I throw my arc bolt out there, because people love to sit on that little area. I knew he was going to rush, so I just pulled out the shotgun and blew his bus out. This guy standing behind the shield, I love challenging Titan shield just for that reason. It's just so much fun to smack them behind their Titan shield when they think they're invincible. Go in, smack this guy. He puts a well down, and it literally went off. You can see it went off fully, but I didn't get enough healing to out-heal my shotgun and lethal current melee. It just blew him to bits. A direct hit right there does over 200 damage and took him out. I have my lethal current, so I'm just trying to go in if I can. I blink onto this guy to change my hitbox a little bit, smack him away. The lethal current blows up, does a bunch of damage to the second guy, and then I just ruin their lives. You can see here I talk to these guys. I'm like, you're welcome. I don't show the scoreboard right here, but yeah, let's just say I carried them just a little bit. You know, maybe I had 14 kills, maybe each of them had 4, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Now I grabbed an angle on this guy with my teammates, and then I wanted to go in, so I did. You know, I just went in with the shotgun, smack him once, punch him in the face. I'm looking around at my radar and I see he's to my left, smack him, do a little dodge backwards so I can get my amplified, and with my lethal current, smack him, and you see that lunge range is crazy. I lunged so far to just punch that guy in the jaw. I literally made him go whack jawed right there, and he was like, that's how he was talking after that, because I just put his jawbone into 33 different pieces right there, and he didn't know what was going on after that. I love linking up onto this archway and just smacking people. You can see I had a good nade on them, and it actually got them both jolted, and that was amplified after I killed those suckers, so you gotta be looking at things like that. Now I did like taking this angle as well. If you can get up there really quick, you can take people off guard just like that guy and smack their heads off real quick, and then you know exactly where the ghost is, so you can go in and cut them off just like that. I was looking for the last guy, and I thought he might be in spawn, and then I noticed, oh, maybe he's AFK and quit, so I decided, hey, I'll just go make friends with him. I was gonna walk up, maybe do some emotes with him, and then my friend just domed him. You know, I mean, not my friend, my teammate. And I said, no, I shook my head to the gods and said, why? You just ruined my one chance at true friendship with this random man. So, rip to that guy. I don't remember his name, but hey, You know, he's a true one. He's a true one. So I'm looking over here. My teammate is getting pushed a little bit, and so am I. I want to see if I could help him. I should have got the res, but I didn't really think about it. So I just stood on this res instead. Saw right behind me. Again, you got to watch your radar. You need to be watching your radar about 80% of the time when you're playing. You're not even going to be looking at the enemies. What are you looking at the wall for? You know, most of the time you're going to be looking at your radar because there's just a wall in front of you. You need to see where your enemies are so you can actually peek from behind that wall. So keep your eyes on your radar, especially in those situations. Right when you get that first shotgun or melee kill, look at your radar. You can see I dodge right there, and that's what I'm telling you. I blink in, and then I dodge, and then I go in. That way I have the lethal current before I go into that melee battle, before I go into that shotgun range. That's what you want to do. Get that lethal current up before you go into that shotgun range. I saw this guy was pushing me, so I took out my shotgun, and unfortunately he kind of went down, and my teammates got smacked. I got a little flabbergasted here, and I was like, what do I want to do? So I flew back, and luckily I was surviving with about 1 HP. Now I knew I needed to do something good here, but I also knew they might just get really aggressive, and that's exactly what happened. I just aimed down sights and smacked that guy into the ground, and I got ready to fly on to the next one. Unfortunately, he just kept running. I thought he might turn around, but he did not. So I decided at this point, well, I need to do something. So what I did is I blinked forward, and I grabbed my teammate's res, and I went and got this special ammo in front of me because I knew I wanted to kill him with a shotgun. So what did I do here? I dodged, I grabbed my lethal current, and then I blinked over the archway. I went down, was trying to watch my radar, saw the last one was behind me, turned around, and traded with him with our shotguns perfectly to end that round off. My teammate was still alive, so we ended up winning. Now I'm looking here, and I throw out my grenade, and it does, I don't know if it ticks or not, but hey, didn't get my nade back, unfortunate, but you can see I blink out there. I was using the cover behind me to blink out, and just keeping that cover in front of you as you blink out, so that way when your hitbox goes through its blink, it's not really getting targeted by the enemy. My teammate gets a good pick there. I do my little rollout, smack the first guy after a second, and look how strong glaives are. 1 punch and lethal current, and then 2 more punches after I full blast with him with a shotgun at point blank range. And that's supposed to be balanced. Whenever we get to the day that more people start using glaives, we're going to really start realizing how insanely overpowered they are. Oh, and then, by the way, speaking of the glaive guy, he killed both my teammates in that round, just to let you know. They completely threw that round, so fun. I love glaives. I started taking this angle a lot. It's actually a really good angle. You have the tiniest little crack in that door that you can see the heads of the people that aim right there. I highly recommend, especially if you're using a hand cannon, to take the aim onto right in this angle, because you can really get some good smacks. Especially if you're using my build and you're going to go with the Lucky Raspberry, then you can get some really easy arc bolts straight into that angle and take them out. Now I decided to blink in here. It looks like the second guy was AFK, at least at first. I dodged after I got the first kill just so I could get my lethal current back up immediately and just go off on the second one. Even though he was AFK, it was still a pretty spicy, sexy clip, so I had to show it to you, right? I blink in here just to throw my melee out, or my super, excuse me. It did some good damage but didn't get any kills, but luckily my teammates followed up beautifully. Now that guy was not looking to take a shotgun battle with me, so I decided, hey, we'll take the range battle if that's what you want to do, little guy. And I want to show you right here, you can blink over that. Do you see how I blinked the first time and I didn't get frozen? I did get frozen the second time because, you know, I was on the ground, but just remember, if you see those cold snap nades coming at you, you can blink right over it and you won't get frozen. You know, it has to tickle your toes if it wants to freeze you. So if you just remove your toes from that equation, then you're not going to get frozen. Smack this guy down, and we are coming into our last 2 plays here. Thank you guys very much for watching, I do want to say, and I'll give you a proper send out in a second, but let's commentate this last play first. Again, that's what I'm saying, look at that angle, it's perfect to take that angle, and then what you can do is push forward and take this angle as well. I had to slide out because that nade was actually really good. It was an impressive nade from that guy to block that off. Took out my shotgun and was just watching my radar. Smacked the first guy, and then I did my roll immediately so I could get my lethal current, and then I punched this guy in the face with my melee and my shotgun in conclusion, or together I should say, to kill him. And I'm looking for the last guy. My teammate ends up killing him, but it was a real nice round. I decided, hey, you know, I'll go pick up our teammate. There's no reason not to put this into a 3v1, why not, and just be really safe, because oh, I know that if I died to the last guy, my teammates might have thrown it. Anyways, this is the last play for today, so thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so excited for Trials to be back, and if you're enjoying the Trials content, I would really appreciate you leaving a like and a comment, subscribing, or hitting that notification bell so you can see more in the future. That stuff really helps, and even just leaving a like on the video helps more than you can imagine. It tells YouTube, hey, I'm enjoying this content, and they can push it to some more people, and it just really helps me out. So I'd highly appreciate if you could do any of that for me. I would just be over the moon. But hopefully you guys just enjoyed the video. I had a lot of fun making this. I had a lot of fun just getting these plays today, and just, you know, it was nice to enjoy the game again, because it's been really hard to enjoy it with SBMM and control and whatnot, and it's just this season being a little stinky. But Trials has been fun today, so I'm very happy that I got to play some fun Trials and have a good time. But that is it for me today, so have a great day, Guardians.